That's too much stress for so early in the morning. The devil knows what will push our buttons, and he has a list of irritants custom designed for each one of us. The cable not working may not have bothered some people, but for me, that's supreme. I would have taken off work to get it straight. And on a Monday night when the Bears were playing, come on now. The problem was I did not have proper perspective. Therefore, I lost my peace. To have perspective is the capacity to view things in their true relation or relative importance. The way you view a situation can turn things around. With what perspective do you even view your spouse? Is she the nag who's always bugging you about going to the doctor, or the one who cares about your health? Is he the one who always forgets to tell you his debit purchases so you can keep track, or the one who brings every dime of his money home? We gotta turn these things around in our mind so we can live in peace. So number 1, calm down. Number 2, assess the situation and deal with it. Number 3, decide how important is this, really? Hey, a person has a pretty good life if their only concern is no cable TV. For Let's Stay Together, this is Donna Terrell.
Good evening. This is Brenda McCain from the Let's Stay Together talk show. Here is this week's announcements. Join us next week, June 30th. Our topic, Black Violence in America. United we stand, so why are we so divided? Jason Petrick Fashion Hair Studio is home to the world of fashion and entertainment. He offers you a backstage experience with salon hair services, makeup, photo shoots, clip-in and sew-in extensions, fashion and entertainment, and a great bundle deal on luxury hair. Jason creates hair that puts every woman on the runway. Get 20% off all services between June 20th through June 30th. Book today at JPFHAIR. Please visit jpfhairstudio.com for the location. Join Adore to Empower as they launch their global movement to empower domestic violence victims and survivors, Saturday, June 27, 2015, from 6 to 9 p.m. at D. Le Sports Blue. For more information, please go to their website at www.adoretoempower.org. The Let's Stay Together talk show is looking for retired part-time experienced editors to do a couple hours of work. Please contact us at the Let's Stay Together talk show at gmail.com if you are interested. Looking for a great cause? Help New Faith Baptist Church International fight against Ebola. Go to Amazon to support the Joseph Assignment. Go to www.smile.amazon.com. Right after our show, you can tune in to hear more great preaching at New Faith Baptist International Church with Pastor Tredell Elder. This broadcast comes on every Tuesday at 9 p.m. at WYJS. This concludes the Let's Stay Together talk show announcements.
You are now returning to the Let's Stay Together talk show.
All right, welcome back. Hey, hope you've been enjoying the current situations we've been talking about. We've had some heated discussions about this, but the wonderful thing that I like about the Let's Stay Together show is that we always talk about things that are the core, the focus of what's going on, and we allow ourselves to be able to be open and honest about our feelings. We're all, persons who love Jesus Christ and live according to his will, but we know that in order to be able to show the love of Christ, we have to talk about subjects that are sometimes taboo in the church and discuss them to a point where everybody's opinion is out, but we try to come to some resolution that is able to show that there's still a love of Jesus Christ in all of us and that we should try to come together in unity. With that being said, that was Rick McCain's editorial. with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Brenda McCain, who has dropped the shabazz maybe for this subject, and we're going to go on further. Baby, what new story do you have for us now?
They shut me down, people.
Yes, we did. Censored her for good, boy.
Oh, the next story comes out of Carson, Virginia, and it involves a pastor and a wife who was stabbed by a young male that they actually ministered to. This young guy, this is Pastor Hugh Mays and his wife, Carol.
That we're praying for, by the way.
Right, and they had a church called Shiloh Baptist Church in Carson, Virginia. They actually, like I said, ministered to this young fella and talked to him, and I'm not sure what was the time frame that this 21-year-old decided that I guess their ministering wasn't enough for them, that he broke into their house at night, burglarized them, and stabbed them with intent to kill. Now, the wife has been, and stole $800 in their car. The wife has been released from the hospital, but the husband is still there, so we have to continue to lift him up in prayer.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that. That's what that said, because I thought they were both still in the hospital.
No, they said she was recently released.
Okay, because I know they said that I thought they were both in intensive care. It's a sad situation. I mean, again, we have someone from the church trying to do something good, and someone decides that they want to viciously, stab the person with the intent. I mean, the number of stabs that that he inflicted on them was to kill them, and so there would be no witnesses to it. Did they ever say that the young man was caught, or they identified who he was?
They caught him.
We don't have to say his name, but I mean, it's out there in the papers, but we don't have
Maximum Lloyd, yeah.
His name. We didn't have to say his name, but she said, yeah, Maximum Lloyd. Yeah, I'm going to say the name. They're not censoring me anymore.
Nope, they're not going to censor me.
Jonathan, you still got that 7-second delay. Thank you, brother.
They caught on, I think he did something with the car that they ended up catching him that way. But it's so sad. Again, no respect for the pastors and churches.
Yeah, and the thing about it that's kind of, troubling to me is that I don't want Christians to get to the point where they're afraid to help somebody. Let me tell you something. If you've read the Bible, you know that Christians have always been afflicted through their passion and love for doing what Christ has called them to do. And unfortunately, from biblical times till now, situations will arise where someone demonic within themselves will turn against, the hand that feeds them or the hand that cares for them. Again, we look at a situation where this person must have had some kind of a mental issue, who have decided to harm individuals that happen to be Christians. Now, in this story, I don't know, I'm sure he knew that they were Christians, but I don't believe, again, this was done to go against Christians. This was just done out of, maybe a person needing money, that they said the person was on drugs or anything like that. They didn't have any.
And we don't even know what race they are.
And I'm quite sure if you go on the internet, you can probably find that out. But it's senseless in itself that something like that would happen. Tracy, you got something you add on there? Or, I don't know if you had some Facebook people writing in or
not
something
yet.
Like that. Yeah. You have nothing yet to say or nothing yet on Facebook?
No, I haven't had any Facebook training.
Yeah.
But like you said, I'm not surprised, like you said, when somebody goes against somebody that, what'd you just say, feeding them hands?
Yeah, hands.
I'm not surprised at that, because that happens so often.
Yeah.
And it's a sad situation because, it's Christians. But again, the United, Christian people, we know that, situations happen like this. We're praying for the family. Give their names again, Brenda.
Pastor Hugh Mays and his wife, Carol.
And I'm asking all Christians around the world to pray for this family. I'm quite sure that, they know that, everyone that does something that's, good for someone knows that there's a risk that something negative is going to come out of it. And it's just unfortunate when you do something good for someone and something like this happens. So it's a shame that it happens. But we don't know a lot of information about the young man. They don't say anything about his parents. anything at all about the situation. But the sad thing about it is that I'm fearful that not only Christians, but it's going to cause a lot of people to be very suspicious or careful, and they should be, by the way, or make them not want to help people anymore. And we should always have a desire to help individuals when they're in need.
You should. It's just that you got to be so cautious nowadays.
You know, it makes me think, though, about a lot of people used to always say, I can't believe this church has security. Yeah, that's a good reason why. A lot of churches, mega churches, have security that's in it to protect the pastor and the first family and just the well-being of all the congregants in the church. Now, I know with smaller churches, they really don't have that because the ushers act as a security, which I think is wrong to do. But I get it now. First, I used to be against that over a decade ago, but now it's sad when you're killing inside of a church. And in this case, it was inside of their home, but you just never know, like with the South Carolina incident, you inside of the church thinking that's the most safest place to be. You don't need security up in there because, of course, God is everywhere, and you wouldn't think someone would come against God in sacred ground like that. But you just never know.
Yeah. Hey, there's at the bottom of that, it's saying some places where you can send cards and letters to. Do you have that information over there?
Yes, it says cards for Hugh and Carol Mays could be sent to the SBC of Virginia office. The address is 4956 Dominion Boulevard, Glen Ellen, Virginia 23060.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a sad situation when that happens, and our somber tone, is basically just saying that is, when you want to help somebody, and this young man was 21 years old. It says that he following a traffic stop. He had said that he was facing 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder and three accounts for robbery on a related charges. The funny thing about it is that, we're almost out of words to say about this because it's a bad feeling when you do that. When we're just talking about, the whites and the blacks of the church coming together and we think, that's a good thing. It's a good thing when someone tries to help someone. And I know that some churches or someone gave the church, some money to help out. This is the time that we need to come together because, righteousness should always, triumph over evil, and in situations like this, we need to come together and just know that, God can do exceedingly abundantly what we can ask or think, even in situations like this where we see a tragedy. We can't say that, God doesn't protect or God didn't care or these people had something coming to them. It's just, unfortunately, evil has a way of, in some cases, eclipsing righteousness and causing, a havoc. But, through it all, God still reigns and the righteous will prevail. But, it's sad when you hear something like this.
Yeah, definitely.
And we ain't going to stay on this story too long because we're getting kind of down. But we're praying for their family. We wanted to throw that in there. And, baby, just before we go into our other story, give out that name again and just one more time where they can send the cards and letters. I know you kind of changed, but go ahead.
Pastor Hugh and Carol Mays, if you want to send anything to them, please send it to the Virginia office, SBC of Virginia office at 4956 Dominion Boulevard, Glen Allen, Virginia 23060.
Hey, we're going to change up a little and kind of bring some levity to the situation here. After that, we need to bring something up. Hey, Jonathan, can you do me a favor? Throw in that shock factor for us, and we're going to end the show out with that.
Exclusively on the Let's Stay Together show, it's Shock Factor.